begins in mid-January and ends in mid-June. You've got 5 more months. And things begin to get more challenging as students build upon those foundations that they built in semester 1. Remember that ideally, physics students are beginning in January with developing on all practices, while honor students are at almost all proficient level. During the second semester, physics students now aim for proficient level in all practices, while honor students are aiming for advanced level in 9 out of the 10 practices. Notice that we're going to take a whole semester to move up 1 level. Again, notice that there are different expectations based on the course you're enrolled in, but the practices don't change, nor do the achievement levels themselves change. Students opting to take honors are expected to work at a faster pace and at a higher level than those in regular physics. So why do these expectations shift upwards at this point in time? Listen, the whole idea of school is continuous learning and improvement. We don't want to maintain a grade. We want to expand our minds, develop our skills, and find opportunities for growth and self-development. Take a look at this growth chart. This is what doctors use when they're looking at what's normal for children. There's a range of normal progress, but if you're outside of that range, then the doctor would be concerned. If a child doesn't grow, the doctor's alerted. And 48 inches might be really tall for a 6-year-old, but it's not very usual for a 10-year-old. This is true about learning too. There's an expectation of incremental growth over time. It's with this in mind that we designed this strategy. So if a physics student has met the target of developing in all the practices, then they have 5 months to move them all up to proficient. In general, proficient is where you are overtly stating correct physics, even though you may have errors in the application. This is something that all students should be aiming for by the time they complete the class. I'm not expecting perfection, far from it. But if an honor student has met the target of 9 proficient in developing in the rest of the practices, then they have 5 months to move them up 1 level each. In general, advanced is where they are overtly stating correct physics and applying it correctly. This is more challenging, but appropriate for an honors student. Note that expert is not expected, not because you can't do it, but because we just don't have enough time to practice sufficiently to get you to that level of mastery. There may be some people who can try some expert level scores, and I'll help them if they're ready to progress to that level, but it's totally not required in order to get an A. At the end of the first unit in semester 2, you may see a sudden drop in your grade, even though your scores may remain the same or even go up. And that's because of that expectation shift. And we're using a different grade translation. Do not panic. As always, the grade in all units leading up to the last one mean nothing. It will not be used in any way. It's a progress report so we can figure out how you're progressing. Sometime in June, you will take the last unit test, hand in the last lab report, and submit the last project. The scores on these items will be used to determine your final grade using the grade translation chart. Let me show you a couple of examples. This chart shows the scores of one physics student for the units covered in the second semester. First of all, note the scores in units 4 through 6 had zero effect on the final grade. They show progress during the intervening months, and the student and I continually discussed areas of strength and weakness. They tell the student and the teacher specific skills that the student can work on in the subsequent unit in the lead up to the last one. So this student was at a C consistently for units 4, 5, and 6, and in each unit she had at least one area which she was submitting work at the beginning level. The student never gave up. She kept addressing those areas and improved. So in the last unit she earned 4 developing and the rest proficient or above. We open the grade translation chart, ignoring the third column because we're only using the end of the year. We look at unit 7 only since that was the last unit completed. We find the lowest score and count how many there are. In this case, 4 developing. We look to the grade translation chart to find the rows with a minimum of developing, which includes the 3 rows in the pink box. To figure out which row applies, we count up that there are 6 scores at proficient or higher, which means that this student earned a B-. So think of anything that you have gotten really good at. If you have practiced sufficiently and really mastered that skill, you won't forget. However, if you stop practicing or don't do adequate practice to meet your needs, you may indeed stumble. Doing it well once does not equal mastery, by the way. Consistently meeting a particular target level demonstrates mastery at that level. You don't forget how to walk, ride a bicycle, speak a language, or play the piano. However, your skills do erode if you allow too much time to pass between practice sessions. Or if you never actually mastered the skill because you just crammed enough to pass a test, you ever do that? Then you will not retain it. At the end of the year, you will be assessed on your ability to perform each of the practices. If you truly internalize the skill, you'll be absolutely fine. Either way, you're going to earn the grade that communicates the achievement levels that you earned based upon the grade translation for your class. In the next video guide, I will outline all of the various tools and strategies that I use to support students to reach their goals.